So this is part 2 of the video lesson for The Lady's in Love with You. And in this one we're going to talk about soloing. I kind of ran out of time in the first one as far as how long I want the video to run. This next section here we're going to cover soloing. And I'm just for saving some time so I don't run over on this one too. Let's just talk about what we would do over the A section of this song, and then you could apply this concept really to any song. I mean, I use this kind of thing, this kind of swing type soloing in all kinds of music. I do it in rock, different types of jazz. It doesn't really matter. It's more of a general concept, but this tune is a great one to work on it over because it's quite simple, especially the A section. So there's two approaches that I use generally and have used from the beginning, and I might have just named them myself too. The first approach, using all 4 upper strings, I think of that as a plectrum banjo approach, because I used to play 4-string banjo. I played a tenor banjo, but had fooled around a little bit with plectrum tuning, and I've always been fascinated with that chord melody. In fact, I mean, if you go back, that's where the chord melody guitar stuff comes from, is from the banjo. So it's a plectrum banjo style. We're playing on these 4 strings. So almost all of our voicings are just going to be moving up and down using 4-note 7th chord voicings. And the other way I think of is what I call like the George Van Epp style. So we're using mostly 3-note voicings, but we're moving around, let's say, amongst the sets of strings. So I don't know. Let me try to do an example of both, just using one chord. So we'll do just this this A7 as the Lady in Love starts out with. So I would just do something like this for the plectrum style. It'd be like stuff like that. So we're hitting on all 4 strings here. Rusty I'm playing in that style, at least this morning. So that would be the plectrum style. We're just moving around. We're incorporating non-chord tones where we can, like here. If I could play this B, I could play this 9th of this chord if I want, you know. Same with this voicing. I have the 3rd on top. I could play the 4th though too if I want. I can get the 6th, etc., etc. And so that's the basic concept with the plectrum style soloing, and I think I used that. I think on the original video I put up of The Lady's in Love with You, I think I did like a chorus of each. I can't remember. The other approach, the Van Epp's type thing, would be a little bit more, maybe a little bit more sophisticated. So I would do this kind of thing here. So I could start. What my concept is that I've basically broken apart, and I'm able to play the scale with chord notes underneath. I don't know if that quite makes sense, but that's if you listen to Van Epp stuff, a lot of it's like 3-note, 2, 3, 4-note voicings depending on what he's doing, and it might sound something like this on that same A7 chord. Down there, so you see the difference though. You're following more of, like, let's say 1 chord shape, and then you can do the same thing with the other ones. You're breaking them apart, so to speak, into different parts. If I did that with this one up here, you know, I could if I did it with this inversion up here, similar concept. So you're just taking, like, per the inversions or wherever the roots are, you're mapping out around that where you can get notes of the arpeggio and the scale is the basic concept. And so what we would do then for the plectrum banjo thing, I think that's useful because that allows you to, kind of like these inversions that we talked about in the first video. Let's see, like the rhythm inversions. These, all of these give you the capacity then to move stuff up and down the neck. It's related very much to the caged concept. This one is just simply inversions, though. It doesn't, I don't know if it covers all of the caged things or not. It would if we included all of the, let's say, the inversions in between and on the upper strings as well with these. Then you would really have, you've got the caged concept moving up and down the fingerboard. If you're not familiar with caged, look it up. It's really, it's a great approach to the guitar in general as far as learning the neck all the way up and down and across. So that concept of inversions then, it allows us to move different places. We say, okay, well, it doesn't matter what I'm playing. If I'm playing an A, a B flat, it doesn't matter. I just, you know, it's like, okay. You're familiar enough with these voicings, you play them enough up and down, these inversions, then you don't really have to think about it. It's more like you just think, okay, there's this chord, it doesn't matter what it is. It's a maybe the fact that it's a B flat comes later. It doesn't really matter. You're able to, but you know intervallically where these things are. So with the Ladies in Love, I think I did a chorus of each of this type of soloing. So I'll try to attempt that on the G6. I think what I do, I'm not a stickler for sticking with like a time period's harmony, so I like to use seventh, major seventh voicings for this chord improvisation. So let me just try to do like a slowed down version of the A section with the plectrum banjo concept. So. Bit of a flub there, but you get the idea. We're just moving between. So what I'm doing is I'm taking, using sort of a voice leading concept, depending on if I'm fully aware of what I'm playing here. I'm just taking what can I get closest to, or what is my ear here too. I think that's a really important thing that's overlooked in jazz. Like, well, what is my ear hearing? It doesn't really matter what's theoretically right or whatever. It's more like, hey, what am I actually hearing in this case? So I'm just trying to move. Let's say with this, let's say I ended up here and it's time to change chords. So at this A7, and then I'm gonna go, okay, well, this one's close for the D7, and then this one's close for the G7, the G major 7 or G6. So that's the basic concept with the plectrum banjo method. The Van Epps method, I would do something that might sound like this. Starting again, let's just run a chorus or two of that section. So let's say... So something like that is what I would do with the Van Epps thing. Again, I'm just trying to think, I'm thinking where the chords change. I'm just saying, well, what notes are available for that chord voicing that I can get? And this one's thinking more across the fingerboard. The plectrum banjo one is more up and down. At least that's how I think of it. This might be kind of my own made-up thing, but I want to state too that a lot of this stuff, I find a lot of the swing, this concept of the chord melody soloing and playing with swing music completely agrees with my views on how the guitar could be played like a piano, because I have a background that includes several years on the piano where I did nothing but work on, at least, trying to play jazz piano. So when I came back to the guitar and discovered this stuff, I said, that's what I want to be able to do, because I have that ability to have the harmony and the melody at the same time if I want it. So that's what I love about this stuff, is you're able to get, to me it's very pianistic. That might be the best word for it. So again, those are the concepts. We have the plectrum banjo one where I'm just going up and down the fingerboard. The Van Apps method I just think of as thinking more of like, hey, what notes are available maybe in one hand's position. That might be a good way to think of it. And again, that's something you just train. You just train by, you know where your scales are, and then you're able to start putting, hey, what notes work underneath, or what are, hey, here's 3, 5, and 7, 3, 5, 1. I can also do 3, 7, 1 here. Same thing. Further up, if I can do it here. So that's the basic concept, though, with the soloing over that song, is that we're just doing this kind of thing. Just two different approaches. At least that's how it works in my mind. I think I tend to separate them for some reason, but they're very much interconnected, the plectrum banjo and the Van Apps type of chord soloing. So you can just, you can use the plectrum method to get up to, say, a higher note. I can work my way up, and then, hey, I could use the Van Apps thing from that point if I want to. So there's just a multitude of ways to think about it.